Just want to talk a little bit about Amr. That we were looking for some investigators, and he came out of his house and he kind of helped us find the investigators. Like, it was a referral we had gotten, and they weren't home. But as we were walking back, then Amr, he came out of his house again and was pretty much just waiting for us. Where he was your classic, like, golden investigator that you could find. And we started talking to him, and we set up an appointment. And when we came back, he told us that he had read the pamphlet 3 times. And I didn't believe it in the slightest. Because most people in El Salvador and Belize, they don't like to read, and a lot of them can't even read. So you hardly ever found anybody that actually read the whole pamphlet. Generally, if you ask someone if they've read the pamphlet, they will say yes. But that means they've read like the first paragraph. That qualifies as reading it, like, because they read from it. So almost the same thing. But he really did read that stuff quite a bit. He went through all of it, and he pretty much taught us the lessons. And he had been in some bad stuff before, and so it was kind of hard for him to make that change, start going to church. It was a strange thing for him, because he wasn't really in that kind of bad lifestyle anymore. But it was just so strange for him to dress up and go to church. But he just felt so good about it. He really did feel the Spirit and was able to recognize promptings and follow them. And it was amazing to see that change his life. Like, he was guided to be able to find a job when he didn't have one, and be able to make it through. And after like a month or 2, he told us he was feeling like some hard trials were coming. He was feeling kind of bad. Something was going to happen. And we told him that things would be okay and that he'd be all right. And a few days later, then he got arrested. He got put in jail, and for false charges. And he stayed in there for a long time. I managed to visit him like a couple months later. It was kind of hard to get over there. It was a ways away. And he told us that he'd been doing okay. He was pretty happy. He'd been reading the scriptures with his inmates, and praying with his inmates and reading the scriptures. And it's just so amazing. You find people that are just so incredible on your mission, that just feel the Spirit so easily and follow it. And so I love those people a lot. Me and Elder Smith in La Ponderosa, my second to last area, we had an investigator named Alfredo, and he was a great guy. He had actually been hit by a car a couple weeks ago, and he couldn't walk very well. His foot was swelled up really huge. It was kind of frightening. But we had somebody who would help him get to church. I think he made it to church by himself somehow a couple of times. He was pretty dedicated, and he did commit to be baptized. He had a problem with high blood pressure, and exactly a week before his baptismal date, he actually went blind. Like, I guess something happened with his blood pressure where it went way up, and when he woke up in the morning, he really couldn't see. And when we went by, I think that day, then we went by, and he was stumbling around, and he asked us for help. And we helped him get to the hospital. I was there with him. It was close to Christmas, so we actually sang some hymns in the hospital. That was one of my favorite things, being with Elder Smith, was that we could harmonize things really well. That was a lot of fun. It took him like a week to get back out of the hospital and to be a little better, but he still couldn't see it all. And so we went over there with a member and talked to him how he was feeling, like how things were going. And he was pretty down. It was pretty hard. It's hard to lose your sight. So we talked to him about his baptism, and he still decided to do it. He still wanted to follow that example. It was hard for him thinking about it at first, because he wanted to be able to see his baptism. But he did commit to do that. He did it the next day, the day that we had originally planned. And it was such an amazing thing. And slowly after that, his his eyes did start to get better. He eventually ended up going to Guatemala or someplace to try and get some sort of operation done on his eye. But even before that happened, then his eyes did start getting better. And he went up and gave his testimony in sacrament meeting, like the month after getting baptized, and just gave this absolutely incredible testimony about how he had lost his sight, how he said that the devil had taken his sight from him, and how God had been giving it back, that he had blessed him so much from being baptized. And I love that man so much. And there are so many people down in El Salvador and in Belize that I love so much. And I think that's the greatest thing about being a missionary, wherever it is that you do go, is that you get to develop that kind of love for people and be able to see how much God loves them, and to see them change and gain so much more light in their lives. And it's just incredible. That's why we go out and do this. In Orange Walk, there's a great family, the Novello family, that the son, then he's actually the branch president there right now, and the dad, he when we were there, then he was keeping going to church pretty steadily at that point, but it had taken him a long time to become a member. It had been hard, because he actually had a bar with his name on it. Like, he did drink a lot, and he was amazing at pool, and so that was a hard thing to leave behind as well. But there was one day where his son, the branch president, he gave his testimony in sacrament meeting, and he just talked about how grateful he was that his dad and his mom were there with him in church, and I really wanted them to be there with him, because neither of them were members yet. And hearing that testimony, then the dad, he decided to join the church. He said that I want to be with my son. Well, the next time we went by his house, he told us, I want to be baptized. I'm going to be baptized this day, and set it up. And he did it. And he's made so many changes. He's such an incredible guy. He went to the priesthood session of General Conference after that. And after going to that, he told us, I've got to go start visiting people with you guys. I've got to start preaching the gospel. And he had just so much power, because he knew how to talk there in Belize, and speak to Creole, and be able to really communicate. Like, I know how it is to live with, no, I can't even imitate that voice, but with that life, with drinking and everything. And he helped so many people out, just that kind of testimony, because he changed his life around just so much.